Good evening. Welcome. It is wonderful to be with you again. Some of you do not like to sit in the silence. You want to hear me talk right away. But I say to you, to sit in the silence is 1,000 times more powerful than words. The silence at Satsang is pregnant with love and grace. All you really have to do is tune in, like a radio. You tune in finally to the channel, to the station, and you receive clear reception. So it is with Satsang. When we're quiet and the mind is still, we're tuning into the grace and the love. And what happens? You feel a presence within you. You feel a power. You feel a joy well up within you. A happiness that you've never experienced before. Words are right, but there is nothing like the silence. There are many of us who have been practicing Advaita Vedanta, non-duality, for many years. And yet we seem to be caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. We learn all the wise spiritual sayings. We learn in books, in satsang. I am effortless. I am choiceless. I am pure awareness. I am the ultimate reality. I am Brahman. And then, on the other hand, we feel the opposite. We say to ourselves, I feel lonely, I feel depressed, I feel there's something wrong someplace, I feel this, I feel that. So we're caught in the middle. What to do? If we really tune into satsang and to our inner powers, we will find something very interesting happening. There is one word common to both feelings, the high spiritual feelings and the relative feelings, and that word is I. When we say, I feel like Brahman, or I feel like I am choiceless awareness, or I am absolute reality, or I'm wonderful, we're making a mistake. Because we're saying I and we're identifying with the human body. The human body can never be choiceless awareness. The I, which is the human body, as far as you're concerned, can never be absolute reality. So when you say I am Brahman or I am choiceless awareness, nothing will ever happen. Because you're referring to yourself being that. It cannot be that way. Again, when you refer to being depressed, you say, I am depressed, I feel terrible, I feel this, and I feel that. You're using the same I. To understand this is the beginning of wisdom. You're using the same I for both sides of the same coin. Therefore, you'll never get anywhere. So what to do? You begin by realizing that the I is only a thought. And it is the I that feels all of these things and not you. It is the I that expresses all of these things. It is the I that exclaims, I feel sick. I feel sorry for myself. I feel like I'm God. I feel like I'm Brahman. And yet you don't feel anything really. Life goes on, nothing happens. Because you're using your I to identify everything. But when you come to the conclusion that I is experiencing all of this, not you, but I, something begins to change. When you begin to realize that I thinks it is Brahman, I thinks it is absolute reality. I also think something is wrong with my life. I also believes I was born and I die. I've got problems. I believe everything is going to be beautiful in my life forever. We're always using the I. This is the important part. We want to separate the I from reality. And you do this by understanding that you are not I. You have absolutely nothing to do with I. I'm not referring to I as God. I'm referring to the way you use I in everyday life. Again, let me reiterate. The reason some of us do not make much progress is because we use the I am like an affirmation. You're saying, I am choiceless awareness. When you say I, you're referring to the material self, to the body, and the body is an illusion. It can never be anything else but an illusion. Therefore, when you say, I am Brahman, I am choiceless awareness, realize that I am has the same meaning as Brahman or choiceless awareness. I am is consciousness. It is God. When you say it this way, you have an all-new perspective on this thing, don't you? You're looking at I am as reality, not as your body or as your experiences. And if you can understand this and hold on to this when you say, I am sick, I feel terrible, you will catch yourself because you will realize that I am is God and I am can never feel sick or terrible. I am can never be anything else but itself. Absolute reality. Pure consciousness. At first you have to see I as the I thought, as the mind, before you can do the other. Don't you? You have to realize that everything is attached to the I thought. All of your emotions. All of your feelings. Your body. Your mind. The world. The universe. Everything you believe is the I. If there were no I available, there would be nobody to believe anything. You'd have hardly anything to say. And it is true. It is only when you say I that you can say everything else that comes after it. I am poor. I am healthy. I am sick. I am rich. Everything is attached to the first pronoun, I. All you have to do is catch yourself. try to understand this completely, then you become free. You become totally free just by doing this alone. By realizing the I is a thought, the I thought, and is not you. And by realizing the I am is God itself. The I am is total liberation, total consciousness. Think about this. It's very important. This alone will take care of everything for you if you can only awaken to this fact. Whenever you say I, catch yourself. Do not go any further. Remember to catch yourself. You may also inquire, to whom does this I come? Who is thinking of this I? By following through on these things, you make tremendous progress. If you only knew, and if you only understood the tremendous power that is within you. You think you are a frail human being going through many experiences, going through karmic experiences. Yet if you were able to identify with the power within you, the fantastic power within you, you will become completely free. What is this power within you? It is the same power that maintains and sustains the whole universe. You have to admit something is taking care of this world. No matter how things look, there is a reason for everything. Something is taking care of this world. I call it the power that knows the way. I know this sounds kind of terrible when there's an overpopulation on this earth. Cataclysms will come, wars to lower the population. Let us say that so many souls have been allocated to this planet. Let's say 4 billion souls. As the earth becomes overpopulated, people have to be wiped out, removed. I tell you, this sounds terrible when you hear it, but it's not. For in reality, nobody ever dies. How could it be terrible? Nothing really happens to anyone. This is what I'm referring to when I tell you everything is a cosmic joke. When things seem so horrible, when you look in the paper, watch the TV, see what's going on in this world. Yet I say to you in the highest teaching, all is well. There are no mistakes. When there is a certain amount of evil on the planet becomes purged. When there is an overpopulation on this planet, there are earthquakes, hurricanes. Everything is happening the way it's supposed to. Another way to awaken is to trust the power that knows the way. In other words, you have to have faith in the goodness of life. You have to have faith in the supremacy of goodness. When you have faith in the supremacy of goodness, you move upward. What I'm saying is, when you look at the dastardly things happening in this world, and you can look through it and see glory and joy and happiness and peace, then you've made tremendous progress. This is why I can only speak of my own experiences, and it's hard for people to understand this. When I give you the illustration of a mirror cannot see itself, therefore when I look at the world, I'm seeing myself. Now, since the self is consciousness and pure awareness and absolute reality, this is the only self I can see. I cannot see any other self. This is the reason why I can say these things and tell you that all is well and everything is unfolding as it should. This is the truth. This is what I see. Honestly, truly. I see such joy, such love, such harmony, such peace. And I see yourself as myself. In other words, I do not see anything else that separates yourself from me. The love that I see is you. Now I'm a mirror and I cannot see myself, so I see myself as the world. You are a mirror also, and you cannot see yourself. But what do you see when you see the world? Your mirror is covered with dust. You see man's inhumanity to man. You see terrible cataclysms, wars, and you become upset. You become worried. You become frustrated, not realizing that when you become like this, it clouds your mirror even more. You see, when you're living in the relative world and when you believe you are the body, the mind is a very powerful instrument. The mind appears to be a very powerful instrument. It becomes very creative to you. You can do many wonderful things on this earth with your mind. They will not last. But you can accomplish great things with your mind. So in the same instance, when you feel terrible because of the things you see in this world, all you are really doing is propagating the situation, the condition. What you're really saying is, I want to see more of this. Why? Because your mind is creative. Your mind will create anything that you believe, anything that you feel, anything that you see with feeling. The mind only knows to return to you in proportion to what you feel, what you see, and what you believe. This is what happens to the average human being. That is why there is so much change in your life, why nothing is really steady all the time. Because the mind, so-called, works on your belief system and creates for you what you think is true. Therefore, even though you are a human being, you have to be very careful what you think, what you see, what you believe. For you will get whatever you see and believe. Consequently, when you feel hurt because of the world situation, you are one of the millions of people who feel hurt. And you're causing the situation to be completely worse. You're causing the situation to be totally worse than it's ever been before by thinking this way. First, the mind has to think, and then the mind becomes creative and makes things happen. This is what I meant last week when I said Maya isn't that bad. For you can take the good things out of Maya and use them while you're working on yourself. Of course, you have to realize that you're playing around with illusions. None of it is real. It appears to be real. It appears to be happening for a while. And like all things of this world, it must change sooner or later. So if you're wise, you will not play around with the mind to create things for you. What you will do is try to annihilate the mind, to transcend the mind, to destroy the mind, by becoming the witness behind the mind. By going further and further deep within yourself. Until you become Brahman, the absolute reality. But again, as long as you believe you are a human being, you do have a mind, so it appears, for you to work with. So why not use your mind for the supremacy of good? Start to feel and believe that everything happens in this world for a reason. I do not appear to understand it. You can say to yourself, I do not understand right now. I do not appear to understand it. I do not appear to understand what is going on. But yet I know there is a reason for everything. And the reason can only be good. Because the substratum of all existence is God or reality. The cause beyond every phenomenon is excellence, peace, wisdom. And then start identifying with the peace and wisdom and excellence and the joy and the love. I know it's hard to do when you go home and you watch TV and you see all the things happening in this world. You want to kill the bad guys and love the good guys. You have to see within yourself that what we call God cannot make any mistakes. There are no mistakes. If you feel something is wrong with this world, then you're believing that God makes mistakes. If God made mistakes, there would never be the real harmony there is in this world. By real harmony, I'm referring to the way you do things. When you plant a carrot seed, it's going to turn into a carrot and not an apple or a pear. When you plant a cabbage seed, you do not have to think about it. You know that it has to become a cabbage and not a strawberry or a tangerine. Everything is in its right place. Everything is unfolding the way it's supposed to. I admit it's hard to see this sometimes. But the beginning of wisdom again is having faith in the supremacy of goodness, even if you do not understand it. You cannot make any further progress unless you do this. If you try to practice self-inquiry, you will find, as many of you tell me, it's so hard because there are many things happening in this world. So many people are getting killed. So much man's inhumanity to man. And you cannot hold on to who am I. So go the other way. Begin to reason this out for yourself. Begin to see that there is a power within me that knows the way. I surrender to this power. I surrender my feelings, my thoughts, my emotions, my frustrations. I surrender everything to this power that knows the way. In other words, get yourself out of the way. To the extent you can get yourself out of the way, to that extent will you start feeling something else. You will start to feel your divinity. It will just come by itself. You will feel that you were never born, that you've always existed. You can never die. Nobody dies. You will feel that this world is an illusion, yet it appears very real. You will begin to see within yourself all of creation. And you will know that it is you who have created this situation that you see. How have you created it? We go back to the mirror illustration. Just as a mirror cannot see itself, but sees itself as a reflection as the world. So you as a creation, as the creator, see yourself. This is why two different people can look at the world and see two different things. As an example, two of us can look out the window over here. If I ask, what do you see? I get different answers. One will see the beautiful lake, the reservoir, and one will see the pollution in the lake. One will see the birds singing, chirping, and singing beautiful songs. Someone else will see the birds as a nuisance, making too much noise, and so forth and so on. What we see is ourselves, nothing else. Try to remember this. You are seeing your own reflection. That is all you can say. You can't see anything else. Try to remember this. And you'll think twice before you make opinion or judge anybody or anything. For you're only judging yourself. The opinion you have about this world is about yourself. What you believe about this universe, you believe about yourself. You are the self, and the whole universe is not away from yourself. You are creating the whole universe every day by the way you look at things, by the way you see things. You are that. You are the self. And the whole universe is your emanation. But when you become the true self, the absolute self, how can you see anything else but love, joy, peace, nirvana, bliss? It's not that you will not see the world. You will see the world as a superimposed image on yourself. It has no power, no reality, no substance, no value. You will be able to see right through this to the self. This becomes a little complicated to some of you, I know. This is why we use these illustrations again over and over. When you look at the screen in the movie theater, the screen has the opinion of itself as the screen. It only knows of itself as a screen. That's all it knows. It's a screen. It knows nothing else. Then they show the movie on the screen, and the screen is colored by various images. All kinds of things are happening on the screen. Yet the screen is still aware of itself. Even while the images are being shown on the screen doesn't know the images, it only knows itself. The images keep changing and changing and changing. The screen only knows itself. Yet the images are appearing. And so it is with you. When you get to the place where you become the self, the whole world, people, places, and things become a superimposition on yourself. And because you are the self, and you are omnipresent, and you are all-pervading, there is really no room for anything else. If you are all-pervading, how can there be room for something else? There cannot be the images and you, for you are all-pervading. Therefore, you are the self, omnipresent, and nothing else can exist, even though the images appear to be there. Now you exist as total bliss, total harmony, peace, and love. This is your real nature. This is you. In conclusion, do not use your mind to improve your life or subconsciously to make things happen because you're feeling deep inside certain things about this world and your life, and it will happen by itself. You don't even have to think about it. If you've been brainwashed, if you've been thinking for many eons certain things about this world, you become subjective. Therefore, you don't even have to think about it. Things will happen in your life and you will ask, why do these things happen to me? Because your subjective mind has created these things for yourself. Since you feel these things deep inside, even though you're not feeling them right now. They're subjective, they're deep inside yourself. And even the good things in your life come from your subjective mind. All the wonderful relative things in your life all come from your subjective mind. Where else would they come from? And since your subjective mind is not real, it is only a phenomenon, and will all change continuously. It will keep on changing, changing, changing continuously. This is why for 1 year you may have good things happening in your life. The next year you may have terrible things happening in your life. For you're not in control. You are allowing the subjective mind to be in control of you and create its own destiny for you by the way you feel about things. Number 1, realize that you are not that mind at all. You're sick and tired of making things happen in your life. Playing the game of good and bad, off and on, up and down. Number 2, realize your real nature is not your mind. You're not really your mind at all. You are the I Am, Brahman, bliss, consciousness. And you are all pervading. Consequently, nothing can ever touch you but love, pure love, absolute love, unqualified love. Number 3, understand that you have created this whole universe out of yourself, like a moving picture. And to free yourself from this, you must not be attached to the images. In other words, you must not have any feeling for the images. If you have feelings for the images, you get pulled into the game, into the cosmic joke, and you believe you are also an image. You have to go through different experiences. Number 4, learn to trust the power which knows the way, which will take care of everything for you. And number 5, which is the most important one, realize that everything I'm telling you is a lie. Nothing exists. You are beyond everything that you can imagine. You are beyond any word you can say or utter. You are beyond any thought that you can ever think exists. You are that. And all is well.